let us begin today with a brief introduction of our guest. Ms. Arshdeep Sehgal started a social media company, Digital Mill, which handles portfolios of politicians, corporates, HNIs, and startups 10 years ago and has demonstrated tremendous growth ever since. She is also a former correspondent with the Economic Times. So, Express to Liberate welcomes you, ma'am, to this Women Leadership series. So, before we start, it would be great if you could share your personal experience. How has the journey been from there to here for you?
Thanks, Krisha. It is so nice to have young children and students like you who want to know more about the successful journey of women, particularly women. I was always very studious and did fairly well in my class 12th. I did my chemistry honors from Hansraj, and then I did my master's in business administration. And after that, I got a very good job opportunity at the Economic Times as a business correspondent, because ours was the first year when the newspaper decided that they want to have professionals in the reporting of corporate journalism. So yes, I was very thrilled, because for me, the Economic Time was a gospel truth. I used to be reading the newspaper every day, every morning, and I used to think, ye log kaun se hain jo ye likhte hain, like, such great stuff. So despite the fact that I got through in 2, 3 other companies also, I decided to join the Economic Times as a journalist. And I thought, if I don't like, I'll leave in a year's time. But the journey was fabulous. And I was there with the Economic Times for 10 years and wrote some very good stories, very good articles on various subjects, from hospitality to steel to mutual funds and to stock market. And after that, I decided that maybe it's time to move on and start up my own company, which is related to creative writing and social media. And that was a time when social media had just started. People were getting aware of what Facebook is. Instagram wasn't there. Barely LinkedIn and all that. So I was fortunate to get some very good clients. And I started working with them to promote them on social media, like, content writing for them, ghostwriter for them, for politicians, for CEOs, for other people. And there I realized that this is my calling, to be in the creative journey. And more and more people started getting associated, and my team became bigger, and we started doing more work in the realm of Facebook, then Instagram came, LinkedIn, Twitter. So it's been fairly good so far. And now we are launching some more verticals. So yes, it's been quite exciting, very much learning. And the best part is it's about my passion, which is writing.
Right. So you have a commendable journey to your credit. Do you think you ever faced any gender-related roadblocks? How did you manage to overcome them?
Frankly, maybe you can say I was fortunate to not get so much into the gender bias thing, because media in itself is a very evolved platform. When you are a journalist, it is not about whether you are a woman or a man. It is about what story you're doing, what article you're writing, and what merit it has. So I never faced any such kind of a gender bias, thanks to my profession.
Wow, so that's actually great. So tell me, ma'am, it's evident that you have managed to create a work-life balance and a great mental well-being, which is very visible from your pleasant demeanor. Could you share some tips with respect to the same?
So I would say that it was not always very calm when I was in my 20s, because one get very overwhelmed with work. When I got married and this child was small, then it was not easy. Like, you develop those things over a period of time. I would not say that I have not gone through very difficult situations in my work, creating a work-life balance. But yes, having a supportive husband really helps. Having a supportive family really helps for a woman to move forward in the life, and I've been fortunate for that. And the second thing is that you have to create a balance within your own self. You should know that, yes, if I'm an ambitious person, but am I doing justice to my family or not? So maybe I came from that kind of a family which taught me to create a work-life balance, because my mother was also a teacher. So I could manage it beautifully, where I would take my son also for squash classes. At the same time, I would do my work also. But when I thought I'm not able to do justice to my son, I left my job and I started my own venture. And that was one of the biggest thing I did. And it was a very big call because I left my career at Economic Times at my peak. And starting something from a scratch was not easy, but my commitment towards my work and my commitment towards bringing up my son, both the things helped me, because I was very clear I want to be financially independent. And at the same time, I was very clear I want to bring up my son extremely well. So leaving the job helped me in maintaining both the things together. But having said that, support of family is extremely important for a woman. And yes, over a period of time, I started meditating and giving a lot of time for my own self, my well-being. I go to the gym very regularly. I look after myself. So I don't think there is anything selfish about that. I think it's all a part of self-care, which every woman should do and look into it.
Absolutely,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
And that's great. I'm sure we all benefited from this great insight that you have provided. So, now coming to the organization's point of view at macro level. Since you have been in a leadership role for quite many years, do you think people in the organization have a common understanding of psychologically safe workspace? Like a basic level of knowledge about mental health issues?
See, I have worked with the best. So in my organization and henceforth in last 10, 15 years, there has been a lot of awareness in the larger organizations for sure, where the HR takes a lot of responsibility in organizing mental wellness camps and all that. And uh, they regularly have these meets, but I would not say that it's not very high. I feel the organizations should make the environment less toxic by giving them more room to grow. There are a lot of times when the boss is not good and the employees, they suffer because of over building of work pressures and other things, but they're not able to talk about that to anybody. So those work pressures, a toxic environment exists in most organizations, but it also depends upon the organization if they have any welfare committee where they are looking into the mental wellness of their people. But we have a long way to go.
Right. So, we do have a long way to go to
Yes.
actually making people aware of how important mental well being is and breaking the stigma around it. So, but if we talk from a management perspective, do you think organizations today have in place policies regarding providing a safe psychological space for employees? Do they have crisis response policies and processes in place for issues such as physical, relational, or emotional harassment, bullying, or
Yes.
aggression? Yes.
So especially hashtag me too when happened, a lot of skeletons came out of the cupboard, where a lot of women came of such sexual harassment cases happening. And that was a very big wake up call for many organizations who were not adhering to mental well being or sexual harassment of women. If I talk about it now, the social media is extremely strong, and the organizations have become very strong, and it has become mandatory to have a sexual harassment cell or a committee where a woman can easily go and talk about how she has been harassed in any form. So I feel sometimes for men, because they don't have any such kind of a backup, but women for sure they have improved in last few years. Earlier hota hoga, but I think it has improved now after the hashtag me too happened. There are a lot of things which are being taken care of in bigger organizations, but yes, in smaller businesses I cannot say, because smaller businesses are not governed by a lot of policies. But yes, have in place, women are very secure now.
So, this is another issue we need to address soon. So, let's come down to a leader's perspective. According to you, are the leaders and management in organizations trained to identify the difference between mental health problem and a performance issue?
So see, mental health problem is something, if a person is comes up and says I am suffering, I am suffering from anxiety. But depression or anxiety are such things which are not evident unless a person comes up and tells you, right? I might be an employee might be a quiet person, right? And how do you know that the person is suffering from from depression? So well-being is something which is very well segregated, and unless a person opens up and claims that I am suffering from a mental issues or depression, or I have so and so issue, nobody can know. But having said that, performance based issues are totally different. We cannot compare the two. मेंटल वेलबींग जो है वो आपके क्या है, आपके दिमाग में चल रहा है, आप नहीं बताएंगे तो आपको बॉस को नहीं पता चलेगा. बट अगर आपका परफॉर्मेंस ठीक नहीं है and you are able to you're not performing because maybe it's not about you're mentally okay but you're lazy. So there, these two things cannot be correlated in the perspective. A depressed may be very good at work but maybe depressive in the personal sphere of life. But if your performance related thing in an organization can be judged by your depressive state unless it's been very categorically told in the system that yes, I'm suffering from such a such problem, it may impact my performance. There is no other way to gauge. This is, if this is your question.
Right. So, do you think organizations today have a process for allowing open communication between managers, supervisors, and employees that assist to address the needs of co-workers who are affected by personal or workplace issues? What resources are there in organizations for employees struggling with mental health issues? And do you think there's still a big taboo about talking about this and communication?
See, I personally feel I am very, this is my perspective. I'm happy that celebrities are not coming out in open and say, like Deepika only said, yes, I was suffering from depression, and a lot of more people. But yet, even till now, it is a stigma. How many people we hear who come and say directly to this, I'm suffering from depression or I'm on medication? Because in India, the moment on medication, people do tend to feel, this person is like little off or is mad or something like that. Though that stigma is still attached. We are gradually growing up emotionally and evolving. But I somewhere feel that if tomorrow a person goes to the boss and says, I'm depressive, uh, if the boss kind of a little crazy in the head may feel, oh God, this person is depressed, so maybe he's not a good worker. Because, if the boss is not evolved, HR manager or the HR head is not evolved, may consider it as a. But if your system and organizations are evolved and they say it's all right if you're depressive, it's all right if your mental well-being is not good, we will help you out and we will handhold you. I'm yet to come across such kind of incidences because nobody talks about them. We still are very far off from places where we talk about issues very openly. So it depends upon, see, first, that's what I'm saying. When you say a manager has a mental well-being problem and it affects the systems within, it directly depends upon how the boss is taking, or it HR or those people are open to the idea of having a repressive person who may or may not be giving 100% due to his or her problem. So these are very difficult questions to answer, and yes, the organization should really, so that people can come out and open and feel more accepted.
Right. So, but do you think that women leaders are somehow more sensitive towards emotional and mental well being of people in their organization?
Yes, women are more sentimental than men. Men might be, but they're not very vocal about it. This is how our society works. That still men are not extremely vocal. Women are more touchy. But, my experience has been.
Right. So, ma'am, how do you think we can bring this UN goal of physical and mental well being, but really into practice so that our workforce is emotionally, physically, and mentally in a healthy state to deliver their best to themselves and to the organization?
See, the first of all, you tell, like if a youngster, say a 22-year-old or 23-year-old, an organization, he or she knows nothing. What he or she dependent upon? The boss, the culture of the organization. If this
Absolutely.
22-year-old person is depressive and gets into an environment which is very toxic, what will happen to the, they get into their own shell. They will feel maybe they are not accepted because they're not able to take the work pressures. Hence, I feel the orientations in the organizations, the bigger organizations are already doing. The organization organizations, they should be constantly having one-on-one with the newcomers who are trainees, to give them faith in the workplace system and the culture. So I do not find flaw in a youngster if he or she comes and has issues because they're already depressive or they're already having problems. So HR plays a very important role on having a common dialogue. Now, this comes only for the trainees. What if a 40-year-old person suddenly develops a depressive attitude and joins an organization and and has a problem in giving out the performance? Now, this 40-year-old person is so scared to go and talk to HR person कि मैं depression में हूँ, I am suffering from depression, do something, because that person knows my career is over the moment I talk about it. That's the kind of state we are facing in the workplace culture, where we cannot talk about our inner thoughts about openly. So there is a struggle which is going on. It's not that in people, the people who do not want to accept that we are depressive. So even the organizations, they are not, because people do not come out and open and say ki we are having this depression problem, hame help kar do, ya do something for us. So we, as a culture, we need to open up and accept those things. Only then you can find some help, right?
Right, absolutely, ma'am. So that's really insightful. I am sure with leaders like you in workplaces, this state of mental well-being is no longer an unattainable goal. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and discussing some great
Thank you so
insight
much,
on it.
Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. All the
So,
best. Thanks. Bye.
thank you. Stay tuned for more discussion with more leaders on Express to Liberate. We really need to keep pouring our heart out from time to time.